Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about which measure of center you should use and which measure of spread. So let's look at the first example. If your distribution is symmetric, so if you look at the histogram on the left, and if you would draw an imaginary line somewhere in the middle, if you folded both together, then the left and right would slightly match up. Now, they don't have to perfectly line up to match on both sides. So we would say that is approximately symmetric. Now, when your data is approximately symmetric, we always use the mean and we pair that up with the standard deviation. So symmetric data use mean and standard deviation. Now, what happens when your data is skewed? So if you could imagine drawing that little curve above this histogram, the tail of the curve would be slightly going to the left. So we would say the blue graph here, the blue histogram, is skewed to the left, whereas the one on the right, the histogram on the right, is skewed to the right. So when your data is skewed to the right or skewed to the left, you always want to use the median and then as a measure of center and pair that up with the IQR as a measure of spread. All right, so mean versus median, what does that mean? How does it look like on a graph? So if your data is approximately symmetric, such as this purple one on the left, then the mean and median are basically right in the middle. They are going to be approximately the same. Now, if your data is skewed to the right, as this middle one is, the red one is, then your mean is always going to be chasing the tail. So if you could imagine the tail on the right, what happens is the mean goes towards the higher value. So the median will be always at your 50 percentile or your 50%, and the mean is going to be slightly higher than the median. Now, if your data is skewed to the left, then the tail is on the left side and the mean is going to go towards the tail. So if you could remember that the mean is always chasing the tail. So in this case, the median is going to be still at your 50 percentile in the middle, but the mean is going to be slightly smaller than the median. All right, so let's see if you can pause this video and check your understanding to see which measure of center and which measure of spread would you use with this histogram. If you said the median and the IQR, then you are right. This data right here, if you can see the distribution, it looks like it is skewed to the left. If I drew an imaginary curve, then the tail is on the left side, and we would want to always pair up the median with the IQR when we have a skewed graph. All right, which one would you use with this? If you said the mean and standard deviation, then you are correct. So when your histogram is approximately symmetric, you always want to pair up the mean and the standard deviation.